Hello, guys, welcome to Annie's with TV. Recapping from part 1, Japan was invaded by another world. They pulled the reverse Uno card and invaded the other world for target practice. Itami and his unit started friendly relations in this world and turned their refugee camp into a town. We left off with Itami going to the Empire to trade goods and Yao searching for him to protect her people. Itami dresses as a citizen while being laughed at by his comrades. He shows the nobles some of his pewers, then a mortar. After seeing this, they realize that they can't win a war with Japan. They ask the negotiator what to do in order to remain peaceful with them. The soldiers see a group of men coming toward them and makes the nobles leave. The man on the horse arrives and it's revealed he is Lada's brother, Caesar. He asks her if there are nobles there. Lada says no and recommends him to try some food. He tastes the meat then leaves, taking all of it in a basket. Lada tells the negotiator that her family is beginning to move against them. He tells her that he would like to move forward with the peace talk. She agrees and decides to set up a meeting with more nobles. The soldiers are warned by the night workers that the earth is about to move. Realizing it's an earthquake, they decide to evacuate. While leaving, the earthquake hits the empire, destroying many buildings. Itami says there will be more. Lada tells him that she needs to speak with her father and begs Itami to come along with her. He refuses, but she gives him the looks and he agrees. She goes to her father and bows. She commands the guards to protect the city and the maids to go clean up. Her father commends her for her growth, then asks who she brought with her. She introduces Itami and he welcomes them. Caesar comes in pushing away a soldier. He tells his father that he was told that another earthquake is coming. Lada asks who told him. A Japanese hostage is brought forward bound in chains. He lifts her and asks her to talk. She begs him not to hurt her anymore. Itami rushes over and gives him an oral fisting. Caesar commands his guards to unalive them and Itami does the same to his soldiers. They start out by poking them, then show why swords are useless in a pew-pew fight. Itami asks Caesar where the rest of the Japanese hostages are. He refuses to talk and gets a new dental job with a free facelift. Itami puts a pewter to his head and asks for the Japanese. Caesar says they were sold into work without pay. The negotiator tells Lada that she will have to answer for their captured citizens and tell the king that caring for their people is a policy. The next day, jets launch into the sky and fly over the Imperial Senate, making it go boom. A meeting is held between all the nobles. Lada explains that they did this because they love their people. And after seeing what Caesar did to one, enraged them. The soldier brings the former captive to their camp. Itami gets scolded for starting a firefight in the throne room while they're trying to pursue peace, but is also praised for saving a captive. She asks to speak with her family, but Itami tells her she can't at the moment. It's revealed that her family was a casualty in the initial invasion and he tells the soldiers not to tell her. Itami is told that a girl was looking for him because she needs his help in slaying a fire dragon to save her people. He refuses, saying that it's terrifying. He is then told to visit Luna. He goes to her room and sees her crying. She runs to Itami, calling him her father. He asks them how this happened to her and they tell him that Yao told her the truth, that her father passed to a fire dragon, causing her to have a mental breakdown. Itami finds Yao and asks her why she told Luna the truth. She says she came to the camp to find help for her people but was refused, so she did this to Luna in order to force Itami to take revenge on the fire dragon for her. Itami begins pretending to be Luna's father. They go sightseeing, eating and sleep together. Itami gets a mission to go to the imperial capital in order to translate. He tells Luna that he has to leave soon and she begins to get a headache. While walking away, he sees Yao. She tells him the headache happens because she is close to going completely insane. Itami and Luna go to the bar. Rory asks him how it feels to have a daughter that is older than him, and he says it's weird. Itami gets ready to leave on his mission. He tells Luna that he will be back soon. Seeing her looking sad, he jumps off the helicopter and decides to go slay the dragon. He tells his friend that he and Luna alone will go hunt the Charizard. Rory trips him, then scolds him for being stupid. She makes a contract with him that will make his soul becomes hers if he dies. Lilei and Yao then come in and reveals they are going with them as well. They get in a van and drive towards the dragon. A furry attempts to unalive the Japanese captive. She tells the furry that she wants to pass since her family is gone. She puts a sword to her talk box, but a soldier sees them. The furry rushes towards the soldier, dodging his pews. They begin to fight. She pokes him in the back and he blows her back out. Both of them pass out on the floor. The soldiers carry both of them to the hospital and begin to investigate. They found out that the assassin was tricked into attempting to unalive the former captive, in order to frame Lada and start a war between the nations. Itami's party arrives at Yao's village. The raid boss suddenly appears, landing on the floor and roaring. Itami tells Luna to run and Rory jumps up and smacks it. Lilei tries to hit it with a spell but it dodges. It uses fire spin and throws Rory into the wall. Itami tells Luna that the dragon smoked her father. She calls Atami father, but he shouts at her that he is not her father. He points an RPG at the dragon and forces Luna to pull the trigger. It fires, but Drago dodges and escapes again. They sit at a campfire saying none of their attacks had any effect. The Dark Elves come and greet them. Atami asks why the dragon is staying here. They say that it woke up from hibernation and began feasting. They agree to take them to its home, but before they do, Atami shows them how to use RPGs. They arrive at the dragon's cave and go inside. They find swords everywhere on the ground and begin setting up C4 in the cave. Rory sees the dragon approaching. It circles around in the sky, then flies above them. They shoot RPGs at it. The dragon starts using people to hit people. Luna wakes up seeing the dragon, realizing that her father is gone, and blames herself for it. Lile tells her the flame dragon smoked him, so they should focus on defeating it. The dragon starts breathing fire. Atami rushes towards the C4 to fix the wire. Lile uses the force to pick up all the weapons and Gilgamesh the dragon, turning it into a pin cushion. An elf stabs the dragon's feet and gets toasted. Luna uses a spell that causes lightning to come from the sky and strike the dragon. The lightning activates the C4 and blows the dragon to pieces. Atami's party escapes the cave, successfully defeating the dragon. They see Rory defeated, lying on the side of a rock. Rory's sister says, if it wasn't for her contract with Atami, she couldn't have beaten Rory, but because Rory has been taking his injuries for herself, she was weakened. She calls down 2 more flame dragons and Atami takes Rory and runs away. 2 jets fly over and see the 2 dragons chasing them. It begins firing missiles, then fly over again to drop bombs, before the tanks get their turn, and to make sure the dragons have passed, an attack helicopter comes and fires at it also. Atami is relieved that the fight is over. Rory chases her sister to get revenge for what she has done. Atami gets scolded for going on a mission on his own and is suspended for 2 weeks. They then award him for all he has accomplished on the mission. The general gives him a new mission, to explore the region and look for valuable materials after his suspension has ended. Lile drives the jeep with Atami giving her instructions. They arrive at the City of Magic and go to a hotel. The desk manager introduces them to the workers. They show Lile to her room. Atami asks about his room and the manager calls him a manservant and shows him to a tool shed. He goes to the girls and sees Lile in her new clothes. She explains that anyone that wishes to become a master mage has to wear it. She's nervous about the test, but Atami encourages her and cheers her up. They go to a house and an old lady bursts through the door hugging Lile. She congratulates her on all that she has accomplished, then tripped over books while walking. A woman rushes to the old lady scolding her. She sees Lile and begins complaining that she has a little sister that is testing for a master mage while she is still doing her doctorate, and hangs around with important people while she struggles to get by. Atami is confused and Lile says that the woman is her sister. Lada and the negotiator are happy that the peace talks are going well. Lada tells him that it seems that someone has a crush on him. He looks over and sees a prison sentence. She follows the negotiator around asking him to do many activities. She tells him in 4 years they can get married and he starts to walk away. She says the nobles are scared of the Japanese and she can improve relations. He introduces her to one of his colleagues and they start talking about rare jewelry. Seeing this, the other women begin talking as well. He thanks her for her help and she says she'll do anything for her husband. A ceremony is held for the prisoners who were returned. The Japanese representatives arrive and are greeted by the king. Caesar watches the ceremony, being angry that his kingdom is seeking peace instead of fighting. Lada sits happily, saying they will soon have peace in this kingdom. The head of the flame dragon is brought in. The king asks who defeated it. Lada tells him that Atami's party was the one that smoked the dragon. He asks Lada to bring back Lile to the kingdom in order to reward her. The king stands and proposes a toast. Everyone drinks, then the king falls over unmoving. Caesar smiles at this while Lada runs to her father crying. Caesar takes control of the kingdom. He tells his people that he will not surrender to enemies and they will fight. The sheep cheers his name and he announces it's time to begin the war. Lada and Caesar have a meeting. He tells her that the peace representatives are under house arrest because they were taking gifts from their enemies. Lada asks for proof, but he has none. The captives that were released comes in and tells Caesar that they plan to attack villages while wearing the soldiers' clothes, to turn the public against the soldiers. Lada scolds them for being cowards. Caesar tells them to go ahead with the plan. Lada tells them that she regrets releasing them. Lada meets with her other brother. He tells her he is leaving to gather forces from other nations in order to stop Caesar. Lada tells him if he does that everything they have will be taken away. He says if Caesar rules the empire will fall anyway and rides off. Lile introduces the team to the old lady. She calls Rory and she says she has gotten old. She tells Rory she finally has an answer to why there are so many species in this world. She explains that all the species come from the gate, because every time it opens new people emerge from it, but after a while the gate closes and goes dormant. Rory tells her she is correct. She says that demigods like her guide those from the gate or put them down. The old lady asks Lily what she's gonna show at the test. She pulls out a laptop, surprising everyone. Lily's sister admits that Lily is better than her and declares she will surpass her by being the first to get married. She asks if Itami is single, but Lily reveals that they have done the 3-night sleep ceremony. Luna stands up and says she has slept with Itami much more than 3 times. Realizing that she is lost in this aspect of life as well, Lily's sister pours food on her head and challenges her to a magic duel. Rory judges the fight and tells them no killing is allowed. They start out with Lily's sister's rapid firing magic at her. Lily casts back and knocks her to the floor. Spells begin raining from the sky and Lily begins to fly. Her sister prepares her ultimate attack and she flies away but is caught in the explosion. She dodges a coin, then hits her sister at close range with a spell, causing the battle to end in a draw. A man walks towards Lily with a crossbow, but he's poked by Lada's guard. They tell them that because Lily is a human who slew a flame dragon, she is now very famous in the Empire, and because someone is jealous of her, they sent assassins to unalive her. They ask for Itami's help and he agrees to run away. In the morning, they randomly pick a direction to travel and go there to confuse the stalkers. The negotiator is told that there are nobles who are seeking his protection. He refuses to, saying the general has ordered him not to take in anyone. He hears the little one crying and goes to the window. He stares at her but walks away because the national interest is greater than his personal feelings. She stands outside while the men who made her an orphan try to reunite her with her parents. She cries and fights him. He starts to drag her away. The negotiator comes outside and orders him to release her because he is her husband. They walk towards each other and embrace in a hug. He tells her it's okay. She smiles and thanks him. A battle breaks out on the compound. One of the men runs toward the negotiator. He tries to cover his lolly's eyes, but she says she must look because the soldiers are dying for her freedom. Her guard comes and tells her that from this day on he will be her guardian. The enemy soldier runs away and leaves the area. Itami's team returns to the City of Magic so Lily can go for her degree. In the night, 3 workers walk into the room and stabs the bed. A flash grenade comes out, stunning them. Rory knocks them out, then they are tied up. They say they have been tricked into doing this by someone who told them that Itami's party was criminals. The manager begs for the lives of his workers and Rory forgives them. Lily says it's best to keep an eye on them, to see if the assassin tries to make contact. Lada is told that Caesar wishes to meet with her. He tells her to order her army to stop protecting the Japanese. She refuses and tries to leave, but he stops her. Lily meets her sister at the ceremony. Itami is nervous that an assassin will manipulate someone into attacking Lily. Her sister tells him it is impossible since all magicians are valued and respected. Itami sees a man pulls out a slasher and pulls his pure on him. He accuses her of stealing his research and Itami orders him to be taken away. A boy stands on the podium explaining his research. The judges begin throwing stuff at him and he runs away screaming. Lily goes up a stage. A furry jumps up and tries to poke her. Everyone casts a spell at the furry and knocks her out. Lily is then poked by her friend standing beside her. Lada is told to put on chains, then is dragged to the dungeons. She fights to open the door when her brother's bedmaid comes in and tells her. Her brother says she loses. Lily was wearing armor so she was alright. They ask their friend why she would do this and realize that she was manipulated by the assassin. Itami is told what has happened to Lada and they rush toward the capital. The soldiers blast a hole in the wall, then introduces dragon riders to missiles. They enter the gate and show the enemy lead. More soldiers fall into the city from planes. Caesar sees this and freaks out. He says that they aren't ready for an attack. His bedmaid comes and tells him not to run but stay and protect his crown. The soldiers continue invading the empire while some soldiers evacuate the civilians from the city. Itami speeds towards the city. They tell him to slow down. He says no one's dying on his watch. The soldiers empty the clip into the enemy. They fire back arrows and actually hit someone. They begin charging at them, but mortars put an end to that. The soldiers go inside the building and evacuate their people. Caesar is told that every single one of his soldiers has been slaughtered. He decides to send in his personal soldiers to go and fight the Japanese. Lada's guards attempt to free her but retreat because there are too many enemy guards. They run towards the soldiers, and they light them up before escaping into the helicopter. She cries as she failed to rescue the princess. Itami arrives in the city. He meets with his team and they decide to rescue Lada together. Itami pulls the jeep disguised as a cart. Lily shows the guards the invitation and they are let inside. Lada is dragged to Caesar. She is accused of treason and begins to laugh. Caesar says that he doesn't fear the Japanese and they can attack at any time. A hole is blown through the door and Itami walks in. Caesar calls for an ogre and it appears. It swings at Lily but she flies away. She empties the magical clip into the ogre until it falls. Itami takes Lada and Caesar walks toward him, challenging him to a 1v1. Itami tells him that the next time he steps out of line he will meet Jesus and leave. They drive away and are attacked by soldiers. They find the emperor alive and rescue him. Itami drives out of the city and turns their pursuers into dust. The emperor wakes up and tells them he wants peace. Lada tells him to stop Caesar, but he refuses and names Lada the crown princess, telling her she can either divide the country into two or make peace with her brother. Caesar runs away to the east, saying one day he will have his revenge. A ceremony is held, or Lada becomes the crown princess. Lada bows and accepts. The crowd cheers and celebrates. All the ships show themselves. All are fine except for this one. They begin to wonder where Itami is. Itami runs through the streets going towards Anime Con. He is tripped by Rory, then surrounded by his party. He tells them to go home, but they're surrounded by everyone at the convention. A police officer comes and helps them, putting them in the back of his car, driving them away to a safer place, all prison. That will be all for today. Like the video if you like the video, subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.